No.
Two major banks have defaulted just in the last few days, and it is impacting markets all over the world. We're talking about on the order of Lehman Brothers. This is the same, roughly the same amount of assets going into default right now. We're talking major contagion spreading throughout the markets. We also have the first tropical storm in 80 years about to hit California. Potentially, if it hits as a hurricane, we're talking 150 years, the only second hurricane on record to ever hit California. It's going to have devastating impacts, devastating flooding all across the region. We got a whole lot to talk about today.
Hey, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakahakdash. Double honor to the elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. A sincere shalom, labakarium, shah, yasharallah. That's peace to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. I like listening to this guy here. This is the Popular Report. Now his source of information, I don't know where he's getting all his information from, but I'm sure some of it is coming from a website called War News 24/7. It's in Greek. And you can convert it, to English or whatever language. But it's an international news station that a lot of these preppers gather their information from. Because you're not going to find a lot of this on your mainstream media and certain other underground stations like Democracy Now! Sometimes they go in, Democracy Now! But they more like a political channel, You got some other channels, but I know Redacted have a story like this. That's for sure. Off-Grid Desert Farming will have a story like we about to listen to. Some channels like that. War News 24/7. But this is something that the public has forgot. The collapse is starting with the major bank. This was a big bank. Silicon Valley National Bank was a big bank that had hit about 4 months ago. And then it started trickling down. Even over there, you got some of the big banks in Deutsche, the Swiss banks. They were all collapsing all at once because everything is going to come down to this one central bank, which is going to run everything on this blockchain, the CBDC, which is going to lead to the MOTB. But there's more banks. So the banks we're going to go into right now, these are, China has major banks on Wall Street, and now they're falling. So two major banks from out there just fell. So they definitely collapsing the system as we go into the end of 2023. So it behooves us to pay attention because this is all prophecy. Before we get into that, I'm just read this here. This is James 5 verse 1 NLT. Look here, you rich people, weep and groan with anguish because of all the terrible troubles ahead of you. And this is for you Oprahs, you Jay-Z's, your Beyonce's, your Mayweathers. And you guys would be considered rich, but you're not wealthy. You're not of that status of the elites. Now the elites, the heavy elites, they're going to face this script real soon. But more of the low-level management tier, the 1 billionaires, the 2 billionaires, meaning your Kanye West, all these guys that's really holding on to this fiat currency, you're about to face this. This is an immediate strike against you. That's why when you go into Revelations, hold on, let me get this here. The Lord says, rich or poor, y'all are not of that status class. Revelation 13 and 16. And he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor. So there's a certain person in society that's very rich, but you don't have the wealth of the elites that was gifted through Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shah from the heavens to these top Edomites. So this is what they got is beyond riches because they fulfilling this prophecy. So they above what they about to put in your skin for now. So it says, free and bound shall receive a MARK in their right hand or in their foreheads. So you rich people, it says, look here, oh, you rich people, weep and groan with anguish because of all the terrible troubles ahead of you. Because all of the people that you look up to, your LeBron James, didn't he just sign a Nike deal for $1 billion? That's a lifetime deal. So he's considered rich. They're going to have to take this, see it, because their money is caught up in these banks. They still get a check, man. They got to check their accounts every other day to make sure the money is still there. They're moving their money. They're chasing their money. They're chasing behind accountants. They're worried about taxes. The elites don't worry about taxes. They set up the damn taxes. They set up the usury. They don't worry about this. But the elite's going to face this soon too. But let's check this video out.
Let's jump into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant. And so we're talking about what's going on with the markets and what's happening out there, because it's going to impact people's employment. It's going to impact people's businesses. We got so much riding on things that we don't even have any control over. The bankers, the financial markets out there, they're absolutely in control of so much. And when we look at what happened in 2008, we're looking at a repeat right now, and it is spreading as we speak. All right, so we are waiting for a major bailout from the Chinese government. These are two Chinese banks, massive banks. Lehman Brothers, just for perspective, was about $639 billion worth of assets. Country Gardens is $312 billion of assets. And the Zhongrong is the other bank, and it is about $150 billion worth of assets. Now, it's hard to actually peg these companies.
And Lehman Brothers, you know, that's major. So with those two Chinese banks, what you getting maybe 2/3 of what Lehman Brothers are worth. So you can see the capacity of this fall. So all these big, because they already crash your smaller banks. Oh, Salaki.
Summer,
they already
fresh or
crashed
saltwater, summer
your
lifestyle.
smaller banks, right?
Keep It Quilted means you keep it the best. 3 layers of plush comfort you can see.
Because
so, you know, now they after the bigger banks, which is going to lead one game in town, which is the central bank that's headed out of Britain. So everything is moving fast, and you may think, man, I've been hearing about this bank stuff for months now. Yes, you got to look at the monopoly of the world. It's massive. It is massive. So it's not going to fall overnight. But if you're paying attention, you're seeing all the dominoes hit in a row. But you got to think about the American economy. It's a massive economy. Number one, you got to look at trade itself is by sea and air, man. So when they was shutting off the canisters coming in from the sea, you still had the canisters coming through the air. That's how you still have the food right now. So that's just talking about America, but look at the world. What the Lord gave Esau was the dew of the earth. He gave him everything, man. That was his blessing. So, yes, you can expect this will take some time, some months, some weeks. So you may still hear about a few banks, big banks still being crashed going into 2024. It's just what it is. You got to deal with this with understanding. So when the Lord said this here, it says, this is Genesis 27. Let's go to 41. Let's start from 34. And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceedingly bitter cry, and said unto his father, bless me, even me also, O father. And he said, thy brother came with subtlety and have taken away thy blessing. And that's what's happening now. These elites, they trying to fight back for the blessing and the birthright. But you can't get that back. That was solidified in the heavens before it took place in planet Earth. That was just the actions of Jacob and his mother Rebecca. You know, that was just the actions of, you know, Jacob, the physical actions, but the birthright and the blessings from the heavens was never yours. Never yours. 35. And he said, thy brother came with subtlety, and have taken away thy blessings. And he said, is not he rightfully named Jacob? For he has supplanted me these 2 times. He taketh away my birthright. So we have the birthright. That's what this whole second coming is about. We have it. And behold, now he hath taken the blessing, and the ultimate blessing. Because these are blessings for you, E. You've been living rich. The Lord gave you another run. You came back out of a low condition. But that kingdom of heaven belongs to us. And now he hath taken away thy blessings. And he said, hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy Lord. So we are your Lord, rightfully so. And all his brethren have I given unto him for servants. And this is yet to take place. Because when you go into Ecclesiastes, it said, I have seen servants upon the horses and princes walking in service upon the earth. So we have the princes, Yasha Allah, on the earth right now. The trading places is yet to take place, but it's happening. We're seeing a transition of 2 worlds right now. So it says, I have made him Lord, and all his brother have I given unto him for servants. And with corn and with wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be of the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. So we see that, man. That's why when you go into this, once again, James 5:1, look here, O ye rich people. So you ain't got your fatness, you ain't got your dew, man. Now we watching the collapse of your empire that you built. And it's falling by the hand of the one who gave it to you. Because remember, Isaac gave it to you. Isaac is Yahushua in the spirit. You can receive it. And Isaac, or Yahushua, the second Adam, is the one that's going to come back and take it from you. So it says, look here, O ye rich people, weep and groan with anguish because of all the terrible troubles ahead of you. There's some terrible days ahead for this place here, man. Your wealth is rotting away, and your fine clothes are moth-eaten rags. Now you see Esau, you know, they got the Phantoms, the Bentleys, the boats, the yachts, the houses, the condos. I mean, we go on and on. They got the fine linen, but it's actually rags. It's actually rags. None of that's about to benefit them for what's about to go down. Your gold and your silver are become worthless. So that dew that you have, you got to give that up. You got to turn that stuff in, man. The very wealth you were counting on will eat away your flesh like fire. This treasure you have accumulated will stand as evidence against you on the day of judgment. Why? Because you got everything by the sword. That's why when you go back here, reading the rest of the blessing here, this is Genesis 27 verse 40, and by thy sword shall thou live. By thy sword shall you live. That's why it says here, this treasure you have accumulated will stand as evidence against you in the day of judgment. Because you got it all by the sword. You blood on your hands, E. You got blood, and that was the blessing. You worked that sword, whether it's through your mouth, which is your greatest sword, is your tongue. The Lord tell you that you go astray from the womb, man. As soon as you be born, speaking lies. That's your greatest gift. You know, your trickery. Hey, you use that on Eve in the garden. This is Psalms, was it, Psalms of Salakia. Is it 80? Is it 58 and 3? Let me see here. Let's try this. It says the wicked are estranged from the womb, meaning you go sideways, man, from the time you're born. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Their poison is like the poison of a serpent. See? Because you was that same serpent in the garden, man. It says, they are like the deaf adder that stoppeth the ear, which will not hearken to the voice of charmers. And you know charmers is here to stop the deadly snakes. But it's no stopping you, E. That's why when the Lord let you loose, he had to let it go. Your rulership had to come last. Charming never so wisely. So this man, hey, that's one of your slick swords. It's your tongue. And you used it well. Psalms 51 verse, what's it, Psalms 50 and 21? Let's see. It says, no, that song's, which one, what is this, it says, cast away thy presence. Hold on, what's this here? The words of his mouth. Salakia. There's 55 and 21. Psalms 55 and 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter. See? You know? But war was in his heart. But war is in your heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Why? Because, let's go back to Genesis. That's your gift. That's why the kingdom is done, man. Everything is set. Click, clack. Every day you wake up, you're coming closer to the day of our Lord. See? Genesis 27 and 40. And by thy sword, which is not just your physical sword, which is also your tongue. What did it say? The pen is mightier than the sword. That's dealing with your court system, your flood system. I was watching a video by Jordan Maxwell. You know, I've been going through some of his series, man. You know, he break it down about this whole simulation that he set up and his whole court system and his laws and the American economy. And, you know, it's just, Jordan Maxwell just brings it all together. How this man's tongue is deadly poison. And that's part of your sword. And that's how you shall live. So let's check a little more.
They're not exactly banks. They're what's called shadow banking. And so they have regular banks over in China, but the Communist Party controls those. They don't give out loans very easily. And so what you have is all these investment groups out there that are taking in cash that are...
We travel in a van with our two cats, and this week we're visiting family. With AutoShip from Chewy, we were
you invest in their portfolio, so to speak, and then after the portfolio gets your money, they then invest it into property development. They invest it into, but they function very much like loans because there's just not enough loans to go around. But they're a lot less regulated. They don't have regulations. And it's also companies owning companies owning companies. A lot of it is shell games. A lot of it's Ponzi schemes. And so what we're finding is that the Ponzi schemes are starting to collapse out there. They can't keep up. And so they're not getting enough money coming in order to pay their debt obligations going out. And that's where we are right now. Country Gardens and Zhongrong have now missed payments. That's default, right? They've defaulted, and it looks like they're trying to prioritize payments, but it's looking overall that when they get to this point, they just don't have the cash on hand. They cannot actually make these payments. And when we see that, they're shafting the international obligations first. They're trying to pay out on the local level, but already Zhongrong is defaulting even to local people in China. So there are people out there protesting already because they thought they were depositing their money essentially in a bank, and now their investments are just lost. And that is huge. These people over there don't have all that many options for investing, and so they thought they were investing in real estate. They thought they were investing in things that are very, very stable. Country Gardens was the largest property investment firm out there, property development. They're building all these high-rise skyscrapers of residential apartment buildings and such. Most of these, like ghost cities, they're building these things for investments. They're not building them for people to live in, which is, it doesn't really make sense, but so much of the United States financial system doesn't make sense either. But they've historically found that residential apartment buildings are just the most stable and best investment. So basically, a lot of these people, they bought their second apartment, right? They buy a first apartment and they're allowed to buy a second, and they can do that for investment purposes. They don't really have intention of living there, but they're going to resell it later to someone else. The problem is they build these things and they're falling apart. Nobody's living in the buildings, nobody's maintaining the buildings, and the buildings are literally falling apart, and they just are hoping to sell these to somebody else. So these property developments and these residential buildings, they are all actually major money losers in the long run. But they function like Ponzi schemes. If they can get enough people pouring money in, they can keep pouring the money out. And so Country Gardens has been caught red-handed numerous times, selling the same property multiple times to people. They've gotten caught selling properties that are just completely substandard. They're literally falling apart. They're just one thing after the next.
Hey, so you hear
on
man,
every corner.
You can go over here and watch the rest, but you can also look up China ghost cities, man. To get more understanding of what he's saying. You got these cities that's built up, but no one lives there. And when you build up, a house, you got to maintain it. Roof, weather conditions, sewage, landscaping, and they just leave these cities. So these cities are built up and there's no one in there, man. And these cities that can fit maybe 1 million or so people, houses, apartments. But check it out. China's ghost cities. And let's believe the elites run China. That's why the technocracy is taking off in China first. They built up China for this one very reason, as a testing ground to the New World Order. So don't think China's just out there doing their own thing, that they're literally a superpower like they're projecting in the media. That's not true. They're controlled as well. Esau runs the world. Okay? So let's finish this out here. Back in James 5 verse 4. For listen, hear the cries of the field workers. And who's that? Ultimately, that's us, the Israelites. We the ones in the field. We the ones that still had to work through this damn pandemic, man. Where everybody else in a house, hiding with their windows sealed up from this supposedly virus in the air. Niggas and Hispanics had to go to work, man, and Native Indians. We had to go to work. It says, whom you have cheated out of their pay. Now you hear that major Ponzi scheme going over here. This whole place is a Ponzi scheme. At the end of the day, what the hell is the damn petrodollar, man? What the hell is this? Real money is silver and gold. So this whole thing is a Ponzi scheme, man. It says, so they've cheated everybody off their pay. The wages you've held back cry out against you. Meaning, once again, this stuff is going to be a testimony, more iniquity against you, E. The cries of those who harvest your fields have reached to the ears of the Lord of the heavenly armies. That's why these UFOs are here. Because this place is about to be invaded. The Lord is literally about to take this place down. So Esau, you're the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. You have spent your years on the earth in luxury, because once again, going back to his blessing, man. Back to his blessing. What was his blessing? It says, and Isaac his father answered and said unto him, speaking unto Esau, behold, thy dwellings shall be the fatness of the earth. And this man has lived like a rock star. These elites live like a rock star. Even your average white man who's an Edomite. Not every white man that you see is an Edomite, by the way. But even your average Edomite is living higher than any other nation. Okay? Because that was part of your blessings, man. So it says, you have spent your years on the earth in luxury, satisfying your very desire. You have the fattened You have fattened yourself for the day of slaughter. And what that sound like? That sound like Isaiah, man. You know, just real quick. You know, sound like Isaiah 34 to me. Straight up. Isaiah 34, it says, hold on, it says, Isaiah 34:5, for the sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, upon the people of my curse for judgment. The sword of the Lord is filled with the blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, and the fat of kidneys of rams. The Lord, or Yahweh, have a sacrifice in Bozrah, which was one of the key cities in Esau's land. Okay? And a great slaughter in Idumea, which is the Greek way of saying Edom. So yes, the Lord is coming, man. He is coming. It says, you have fattened yourselves for the day of slaughter. So you fatten yourself up just to be slaughtered. It says you have condemned and killed innocent people who do not resist you. So that day is here, man. So we in a hell of a time of prophecy. If you can receive this, if you can't receive it, move on, man. You know, this is a beautiful story unfolding right before the men of the Lord and the hopeful Akwath as well, man. You know, we watching the kingdom come in, and it's coming in fast. And the Lord is giving us the eye salve to put this thing together, man. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. Hold on. Verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world. See that? So you damn Edomites, man. For Esau is the end of the world. This word world here, this is eon, man. This is eon here. Okay? So yeah, you're the end. Oh, it's messing around on me. For Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So as this kingdom collapses, the Lord is bringing his kingdom right on the heels of you, Esau. That's biblical prophecy. So you all can go on over here if you want. Check this out. You know, more financial markets collapsing. Oh yeah, then we ain't get into the historic hurricane that's about to hit California. So the Lord bringing through his tempests, and this goes right with those earthquakes, meaning the earth is shaking on biblical proportions, man. This earth is shaking. So, you know, giving all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Kahadash. Double honor to the elders of Great Millstone who told me this truth. A sincere Shalom, Labakarium, Shah Yasharallah. That's peace to the hopeful elected nation of Israel. This thing is happening. This thing is real. This thing is going down. Peace to the hopeful elect. Shalom. Shalom.